Rena from No-Knead, that's healthy, and it's time to make supper again. Now in the winter, I love a creamy soup because it's warm and comforting, and when you serve it with my no-knead bread topped with roasted vegetables, it's gonna become your go-to as well. Now let's cook supper. This bread is so simple to put together. You can put it in the mixer. I have a mixer here and it's really easy, but the best thing is that you can literally mix it by hand and very simply. So you're gonna put flour right in here. You're gonna take some sugar and yeast. I like to put it on one side and then some salt on the other. Then you're going to top it with the warm water and then your oil. And now you're just gonna give it a mix. Now I happen to have this great little dough hook here, but I can totally put on some gloves and use my hands, but just make sure it all comes together. Again, it's gonna be a really wet dough. Don't worry, it's gonna be amazing. That's literally it. That's how easy it was. Top it with a little bit more oil. I like to just go in with my hand just to make sure that the oil's coated all around. Just makes it easier to take it out. Leave that oil on the top. That's it. I have these shower caps that I use in my kitchen whenever I'm covering dough. This works really well. Now this goes on the side, and this is great because I'm gonna be able to prep the soup, cut up the veggies, put them in the oven, and by the time that's done, I can start shaping this. Now for the veggies that go on top of the bread, I'm using some onion and mushrooms and peppers. You could use whatever you want, and you can skip this entirely and just make this into a garlic bread or keep it plain, whatever works for you. I'm going to put this straight into the oven because that is the simplest for me. I'll just stand over the stove and saute it. I throw it in the oven. I'm also using a lot of garlic. These are actually frozen garlic. You can use fresh. Use a lot. It tastes so good. And I'm drizzling it with some olive oil. Just a little drizzle over the top. I'm seasoning it with some salt, paprika, and black pepper. You can use anything that you'd like to season it. Now I'm just giving it a toss. Spread it out onto the pan and throw that into the oven. Now for the soup, you're going to want some onion, and I just chopped it up. It doesn't need to be perfect because this is all going to be blended. And then we want sweet potatoes, carrots, and pumpkin. Now, I live in Israel, and in Israel they sell pumpkin like this in this big chunk. You can use butternut squash here. You can use any pumpkin that you have. You could use more sweet potatoes. It doesn't really matter. I've tested it out this way and I really like it, but again, you can customize it any way that you like. Just use these orange veggies here. Don't get too stuck on how big they are. Medium to large is fine. The more you put in, just the bigger soup you're gonna have, and you may need a little bit more seasoning, but because soups are hard to give you an exact measurement unless you're weighing every ingredient, I would just say go with a medium size sweet potato, carrot, and the amount of pumpkin that I say, and it'll be delicious. Now in the pot, I'm sauteing the butter with the onions first for just a couple minutes, and then we're going to add in all the rest of the vegetables, top it with the spices, let that cook for another minute or two, and water. Now, as you see, the water is not hitting the very top of the vegetables. That's fine. The vegetables are going to release a lot of water and it will be totally fine at the end. You don't want it to get too thin because you want it to be a nice, thick, and creamy soup. Plus, we're adding in the cream at the end. Simmer and let it cook. Soup has been cooking, and you'll know when it's ready when you literally can just push through the sweet potatoes, the carrots, that pumpkin. It's really nice and soft. And now we're just going to take an immersion blender and blend it up. Now it's blended, and as you see, it's very thick, but that is good because we're going to now add in the half and half or the 15% cream, whichever you want to use, and it will turn out to be the perfect consistency. Watch this transform into the best soup you'll ever have. Now the dough is ready to be put onto the pan, and we're just going to remove it. So you see here it has oil on top. It's a very wet dough, but this is how you remove it and put it right onto your parchment lined baking sheet. You're going to grab a piece of the dough. The oil is gonna help it not stick to you, and you're just going to lay it down in a oval shape, okay? Grabbing a piece of it, and we're just going to lay it down right on the pan and spread it out. The oil should help that it doesn't stick to your hand too much. And again, with the rest, the other third of it or so, spread it out onto the pan, and the rest of that, and push down and spread. These are hot out of the oven, and as you see, they've cooked down a lot. Now you don't need them to be totally cooked down because they will continue cooking on the bread, but it smells amazing and they are gonna be so good on top of this. And you could put za'atar on here, garlic. With my dough dinner that I shared a little while back, I show how I make it into garlic bread, and you could use that garlic mixture on here as well. So let it sit for just a little bit, and then we're gonna put it in the oven and let it bake, and it's gonna be amazing. You just got out of the oven and my house smells insane. The outside is nice and crispy, but the inside is also nice and soft and fluffy. Oh my gosh, the vegetables on top got caramelized and cooked down even more. It smells insane, and this is gonna be amazing with the soup, which I'm going to take out also and serve up. Okay, here we are. The soup is creamy and flavorful and just so comforting, perfect for the winter. If you've ever gone to Cafe Rimon in Israel, then you are gonna love the soup, because this is my take on it. It's very, very similar, if not the exact same soup that they sell there, except you can make an entire pot of it at home and everyone's gonna love you for it. Look at that. I'm gonna pull it apart to show you. It is fluffy inside, crispy on the outside, and then you serve it with your soup. And you can't tell me this is not an amazing meal for the winter. Just, you know, dig in, dip it in. Yum, look at that, and enjoy.